What's up, YouTube? It's me, the artisanmc, and today I'm going to review Ahsoka Episode 1. Now, I took my time in getting back to watch this show because I wasn't overly interested. Disney and Star Wars, in and of itself, has been going through way too much for me right now. So I have not been overly excited to watch a new offering from them. Even though Dave Filoni was doing this one, and this is supposed to be the new age of Star Wars content at Lucasfilms, some of the stuff that's been going on outside of Lucasfilms with KK and Bob Iger and all of this backlash over Indy 5 is not making me really confident in whatever offering they're putting forth. Now, be that as it may, I held a lot of faith in John and Dave, and some of the stuff that I've heard from them has been a little bit questionable. Not so much on John's part, but more so on Dave's part. And the first thing was about this show. The first thing being that this show was not influenced by Kathleen Kennedy in any way. That Dave wrote it and directed. She was not involved whatsoever. And that was the leading conversation before this show came out. And about 2 weeks before it dropped, you start hearing that KK did have some influence in this show. And while it was not in the actual writing room or anything like that, because Dave wrote all of this, it was in Dave talking with Kathleen Kennedy and them sharing ideas on how this show should be made. That is, above all, troubling for me. More so because, not because I have no great love or great disdain for Dave Filoni. I don't. I think he's actually good at lore. He really knows Star Wars. Problem with Dave is that he just wants to play with his own toys, which bothers me a little bit because he constantly keeps coming in and changing George Lucas's vision here and there in minor tweaks, right? And constantly promoting his characters through George Lucas's stuff. Now, that might not be overly terrible, but it is problematic to me if you're trying to right the ship. If you're one of the people responsible for righting the ship from what KK has done, to start taking cues and pointers from her on what to do in Star Wars. That is beyond troubling to me. Beyond troubling. But with Dave Filoni comes along his bent and his penchant for pushing female characters. He really pushes female characters. Now, I don't have a problem with female protagonists. I don't. But I have a problem with Mary Sue's, and I have a problem with these female characters just put in there wherever they can be, just because. That's kind of problematic to me, because I will say this now, and it will sound very misogynistic, but in effect, I am tired of the bony, boobless badasses. I'm really tired of that shit from Disney throughout. Okay, I'm sick of seeing this as the standard fare for how you make a female protagonist. She got to be small, young, and bony. She got to look like a little boy. And she got to be able to kick anybody's ass she runs up on. That is wearing really thin on me. It is beyond thin on me. Now, I'm watching this show because I knew at least one of the characters in it was going to be a female character. And it was Dave's character. It was Ahsoka, obviously. Now, why did I give Dave a pass on that, knowing that Dave came to Lucasfilms with this character in hand? Okay? When he left Nickelodeon and came to Lucasfilm, Ahsoka was the character he brought with him. This is his character, through and through. This is nothing that George worked on. This is his character. The problem I have with this character is he has done an amazing job over the years of actually integrating this character completely into Star Wars, and all roads need to lead through Ahsoka now. That's problematic for me. And one of the reasons it's problematic for me is watching this first episode. And it's a tale. Now, psychologically, you can say that people tell on themselves. People will tell you things that they think they're sliding by you, but it's kind of a wink and a nod at themselves about how clever they are in telling you certain things. One of the things is in this episode near the beginning where Ahsoka and her robot E1 meet up with the prison ship that's supposed to be transporting Morgana Elspeth, and they give the ship's call sign, and it's called Fulcrum. Now, for everybody who doesn't really know, Fulcrum has a couple of meanings, but one of the meanings is that it is the center point. It is the point that everything else moves around. Now, you could say that that is identifiable for the ship because its wing spin around the center of the ship. You could. But you have to remember who wrote this shit. Dave wrote this. It's not just because of the ship. It's because that's what he wants that character to be. The fulcrum. The center point that everything moves around. That all roads go through Ahsoka Tano. The past and the future. Now, despite any of the stuff I may have heard since these 2 episodes have aired and what he has said, I will still do this review based on just what I saw in this episode. And for what I saw in this episode, it just plodded along. It just plodded along. It was beat by beat, just moving along. Not really a lot of excitement. Not really a lot of like, oh, wow, that was exciting. No, it just happened. It happened in front of me. Things look colorful. They look nice. Look like kind of like Star Wars, and then it was over. But what I did catch in all of that is a lot of repeat scenes from other movies. And to start with was the beginning scene where Ahsoka Tano goes to this Night Sister temple, cuts through stone with lightsabers, which I didn't think they could do. I didn't think lightsabers cut through stone ever. Since when? I don't remember that ever being a thing, but okay, let's say it happens. She cuts through stone. She gets down into this temple, and she's sitting here in a National Treasure kind of way, turning these columns to reveal this map. Now, as soon as she gets down in this chamber, she's turning columns. The first thing I thought of was Fifth Element. I say, is one of these things going to glow? Are stone pillars going to come out? Or energy pillars going to come out of there? No. It was just the last one that a pillar came up in the middle of it. But it was just dust and stuff. And then she pulled an orb out of it. I thought, oh, Star-Lord. Now, throughout the show, that's what I caught. 2 other instances that were scenes that were taken from other shows and other movies that made me think this motherfucker is not being creative at all. He's regurgitating scenes. He's seeing scenes that he likes in other movies and he's doing it, which would be, to me, a KK influence because that's all she does. That is her stock in trade. Constantly copying other people's work and putting it into her own productions. Say, oh, look what we did. You didn't do anything. You did what somebody else did before you better. That's not paying homage. That's just copy. That makes it kind of lazy. Now, beyond that, Ahsoka showing up, we get to see the first appearance of Baylan Skoll and his apprentice, which I don't think they ever fucking named yet in the first episode. Now, showing up and claiming that they're Jedi and rolling off the ship and all this black and stuff like that, I don't know who the hell these people were on this ship. These New Republic people were, but Jedis don't wear black. They don't. Yes, they have their travel robes and stuff like that on, but that's usually brown. Now, I don't know where the hell these people have been, but it's not how Jedis travel. But be that as it may, okay, First person out there to meet these guys to call their bluff is what I understand is going to be the first person to fucking die, which is the captain of the ship. Now, it was good to see Ray Stevens on the screen playing this character after his passing. He passed last year. The show was coming out this year. R.I.P. to Ray Stevens, right? He got in his Marvel property. He got in the Star Wars property before he passed. Awesome. Cool. But what I caught out of this is another goddamn hallway scene, which I don't really get tired of hallway scenes necessarily. But this one was just another version of a hallway scene from Rogue One. The only difference is Dave Filoni got to make his own Darth Vader and put it in the hallway, killing people that didn't have a chance in hell of doing anything about them being in the hallway. And I felt the same way watching that as I did watching it in Rogue One. I didn't think it was badass. I think it was about just as simple as Anakin Skywalker walking into a room full of younglings. Thank you, George, for not showing me. I didn't need to see him cutting them down because it didn't actually fucking matter. They didn't stand a chance. I don't need to see a slaughter. So watching Baylan Skoll walk through this hallway, blocking blaster bolts and killing these New Republic soldiers didn't mean shit to me. It wasn't interesting because I've seen it already. I saw it in The Mandalorian with Luke. I saw it in Rogue One with Vader. I've seen it in Marvel with Daredevil. I've seen it with The Punisher. I'm done. It's been done already. You're not doing it any better. You're not making it more epic. It has been done. Stop it. I'm finished. This is the problem that I'm having with a lot of this stuff now. It is not fucking creative. It's regurgitative. And I don't know about you, but I'm not a fly. I don't need to eat something and then spurt it back up again into my mouth and chew on it again so I can savor it a second time. No. If you're not going to make it epic, don't even bother doing it. Do something different. Please. I didn't care for the scene. It didn't blow my cape up. It didn't make my hood fly back. Nothing. I'm just watching it. And if you watch on Patreon, if you watch me watching the show, you'll see there's no reaction. There is none. Nothing is exciting. And I'm not giving it the fault of the show. It's the first freaking episode. I'm not expecting it to be, but it wasn't exciting because I've seen it before. And because I've seen it before, it made less sense. It didn't have the same impact. It's not cool. It's not. I've seen it. Like, yeah. Coolest thing I saw, black robe with the silver trim. That was cool. Very Raider-ish. That's it. Other than that, I was like, why is his shoulder so big? Why is his chest so big? Why he got on so much body armor? Is this supposed to be Gavar Kai? They stealing from Lost Tribe of the Sith or what? I mean, tell me now. That's what I was going through in my head watching it. And it wasn't that I was all excited about what I was seeing on the screen, because I get no excitement out of seeing people who can't fight against a Jedi just getting cut down. That's not cool to me. Jedi, Sith, whatever the fuck. It doesn't matter. Now, the other thing I'll say about this episode is I don't mind seeing Rosario Dawson. I don't. And her lips. I don't mind seeing Rosario Dawson. I don't. She looks like Ahsoka Tano. I don't care that much about Ahsoka Tano. Why? Because I'm not attached to her. I didn't watch all of the Clone Wars. I didn't watch any of Rebels. I don't give a shit. I know who the character is, but from its inception, I thought the character was bullshit because Anakin shouldn't have had an apprentice. Shouldn't have. Shouldn't have had an apprentice. He wasn't done apprenticing. So no, he shouldn't have had an apprentice. But you slid that character in there to try to grab that female audience. Bully for you. So what? But she's badass at everything. I'm not buying it. Now, whereas I like Rosario Dawson, I like an older version of this character. Too much slow walking. That's what's making this shit boring to me. She's always trotting around very slowly. And I'm not understanding, is that supposed to mean that her movements are really deliberate or very calm and calculating? But later on in the episode, she's impatient and doesn't understand her own fucking apprentice, Sabine Wren. Why are you asking somebody else about your fucking apprentice? Then you ain't that badass, apparently. You should know your apprentice better than somebody else who ain't been training her. Because as far as I understand the Jedi training goes, y'all with each other 24/7. It is a real close relationship. You shouldn't have to ask anybody else about what's going on with your apprentice. Unless you asking another goddamn Jedi. Now, be that as it may, by the time we get to Sabine Wren, who I hold no interest, no Hallmark feelings for whatsoever. Only thing I know is she was in Rebels and she was supposed to be a Mandalorian, and apparently she's supposed to be a leader or some shit. I don't fucking know. This is where I got to the bony boobless badass. This scene of her leaving Lorthal and racing down the highway on her motorcycle, supposed to be making her a badass with the rock music playing and everything, didn't make me think shit about her being cool. It only made me think of Sucker Punch. That's the only thing it made me think of. It made me think of Sucker Punch, the girls on the train fighting those robots, heading to the city on the causeway. That's all it made me think of. And it was even worse seeing these half-ass X-Wing mixed with Viper, Battlestar Galactica Viper fighters trying to get her to pull over. I'm like, who the fuck are they? Chips? Is this Punch and John? What is this goofy shit? This is not cool. This ain't exciting. Like, okay, she left the ceremony. Big fucking deal. So what? All of this shit is supposed to be so damn important, and the characters in the show don't even treat it as important. Why should I treat it as important? Oh, Ezra gave his life to sue such and such. Well, that would have been awesome if I watched Rebels, I guess. I would feel something about seeing these people, supporting him after he's been gone forever, making a statue to him. Maybe not. But I damn sure don't give a shit about this little bony chick on a motorcycle evading the authorities. It wasn't interesting. Not in that way. It wasn't cool. Not in that way. I just watched it. It happened. Like, yeah, okay, she's going to get away. And I can say this for the criticism that I heard is that it's predictable. Yeah, it's very predictable. I knew everything that was going to happen. I knew exactly how she was going to figure out the damn puzzle box, which was obvious. Like, dude, I got a harder puzzle in Skyrim, which was very similar. But be that as it may, this is your story. You're telling me the story that you want to tell me. Story that you want to tell me is pretty basic. I'm expecting a lot more from you. Because I can tell you this. For episode 1 of The Mandalorian, I was excited and on board to see what happens next. This shit, I cannot watch the second episode and not be good, because the one thing I know that's going to happen in this, which makes it predictable and dumb as fuck, for Star Wars especially, Sabine Wren gets stabbed through the gut by a lightsaber. And I'm like, oh, well, she'll probably just walk it off. And sure enough, while the credits are rolling, I get the preview thumbnail for episode 2, and Sabine is sitting there. I thought, of course she's okay. I mean, lightsabers only kill Qui-Gon. But with Dave's writing, nobody dies from a lightsaber anymore. Nobody. Not with Dave writing it. Nobody dies from lightsaber stabs. Except Qui-Gon, because George wrote that shit. Which is bullshit. I don't fucking like that. I don't like it at all. So let me get this straight. With Dave writing Star Wars, crystals have personalities. You got to make them bleed and do all the rest of this goofy shit to make them turn red or anything else. They're not just crystals that you can go mine and get you a different one. No, it's no more of that shit anymore. You got to do all this emotional shit with them. Right. Lightsabers can cut through stone now. Thick stone.
Sorry, I'm having trouble understanding right now.
Shut up.
Please try a little later.
Okay, so they cut through stone now too. Okay, cool. And if you stab somebody through the gut, they'll live. Was that a KK influence? Because I saw Obi-Wan Kenobi. I don't know who told that motherfucker, Joby Hero, that that's how lightsabers work. She even got stabbed by that character in that shit, Reva. She even got stabbed by Darth Vader. Twice. Once as a youngling, once as a grown woman. And she survived both times. Get the fuck out of here. So everybody else dies from lightsabers except for these bitches. I'm not buying it. And I'm not liking it at all. Now, be that as it may, I'm sure it was supposed to be a big deal that she had Ezra Bridger's lightsaber. She was using Ezra's lightsaber. I don't give a shit. Like I said, I didn't watch Rebels, so I don't give a fuck about Ezra Bridger. I've seen some episodes of Ezra, Kanan Jarrus. Yeah, some of that stuff was cool. I'm not overly devoted to that shit. But then again, I saw this as a grown-ass man, not no fucking 12-year-old. Just don't care like that. So what? So the fuck what? Unless he's going to show up in this shit, why do I care? They said this chick was supposed to be a Mandalorian. Why ain't I seeing her putting on her Mandalorian armor? Because she got some training as a Jedi? Then put on your Beskar and use the lightsaber. How about that? How about that? You're about to go into a fight, right? Throw on your Beskar. Mando. But that's not what I saw. Okay, well, that's probably why she ended up getting stabbed through the gut. She used to have him, a lightsaber blocking armor on. So, for me, for this first episode, nothing exciting, pretty freaking basic. Pretty freaking basic. Now, I'm going to watch this second episode, and then I'll be done. Until tonight, when the third episode comes on, and then I'm going to watch that one. But for now, for what I'm seeing on this, look, man, I've seen enough regurgitated shit to not like it anymore. And when I see another scene, if I see another goddamn scene like I did in this one, which was 3, the third one was more like, oh, Jesus Christ, I've seen this. Where the unnamed apprentice in this sends out a little probe droid to find Sabine Wren, and the probe droid sees her on the causeway, moving away from her. They must got a really good camera. But flies back to the hooded figure on the mound to say, oh, we found her. It's like, oh, Phantom Menace, Darth Maul. Interesting. I've seen this before too. What? That wasn't interesting to me. It wasn't. The scene that happened after that was less interesting to me because it was nothing but a Marvel Tony Stark ripoff of him finding the new element that his father made and using his schematic to remove the background and remove this and remove that so I can see the piece that's right in front of my fucking face the whole time. Look, man. I don't know if it's getting to the point of burnout or my heart is just broken on the Star Wars shit. But I cannot stand to see any more rehashed shit in new properties. Maybe I'm just too old. Maybe I'm just too old for this shit. Maybe I've just seen too much of it. But I am not a fan of rehashes. Blatant carbon copies. Blatant copy and paste with new characters. That shit is not interesting to me. It doesn't make me think it's cool. It doesn't make me think it's revolutionary. It doesn't make me think that you're pushing the franchise ahead in a good way. It doesn't make me think any of that shit. All it makes me think is, oh my God, they're going to ruin this too. That's all it makes me think. Now, I am hoping for Ahsoka it turns around because I will be watching every episode of this shit. But initially, on this first watch of this first episode, I'm not impressed at all. At all. Nothing is impressing me with this. It's not. So, that is my review of episode 1 of Ahsoka. More a commentary than a review. If you want the beat by beat, you go watch the shit. I already did. I'm good. So, I will catch you guys next time when I review episode 2. Like, share, subscribe, support the stream if you feel so inclined. I've been artisanmc. Peace.